Yeah. So there's this argument by Killer Mike that's on the screen right now that's been circulating for quite, I think, a couple of years now. And I know it's one of those things that on surface is like, oh yeah, awesome. But once you start to dig a little deeper, you're like, this probably is a bad idea. So let's get into it and then we'll go after that.
Back to child support. I think the solution is this, and I'm out your way. Um, 2 years. Young woman gets pregnant as a teenager. Young man and woman get pregnant. This is the 2-year plan. First 2 years are debt free. You don't have to pay the government anything back. So she doesn't get to drag him into court and the court doesn't say you owe us money for investing in your child through food programs, through early Head Start programs. Because in those 2 years, the boy has the option, or not even the option, he has the demand of the co-man to then go to a trade school. You have to go to a trade school, which incentivizes the United States to do it because we need more tradespeople. We don't have enough carpenters, we don't have enough electricians, we don't have enough people building roads. In my community, the girls are going to college and graduating. They have no men to marry because the boys are not going to college in the same way. My teachers were married to a tradesman.
All right, so I'm not even talking about that last argument, which is kind of stupid, by the way, because I mean, okay, you went to college and all of a sudden your man also has to get the fuck out of here. Like that part of the conversation, this is a whole different conversation, but maybe I'll swing around to it before I leave. But the first argument, which is him saying, okay, when two underage people, I mean, I'm assuming that they're not 18 yet. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure why this would be a thing. But regardless of the fact, when it says, oh, because a boy and a girl, young man, young woman later on had a kid, she still gets the incentive from the government, the the welfare and all that stuff. But you must go to trade school and get this stuff. What that does that people aren't going to notice is now who the men we do invest in resources into, we're deciding that based on simply women's vagina at this point. Whoever they decide to sleep with, and give the coochie to and keep the kid, well, that's who we are going to decide who are getting all the resources and shit like that in society. Notice he still didn't say that they had to get married or anything like that. Nope. He said, hey, just simply having a baby is what gets the two of you cared for. See, now you have several layers of the same problem here.
Enough people building roads.
Because when you have as I said before, I'm doing this live, so I'm unraveling that all at once. When you're simply saying we're going to give the guys who have the kids, who have the quote unquote fun, because that's what it came from at a young age. Well, now the guys who didn't get it, do you think by default that they're having these super opportunities and have they default come from parents who've put so much into them that they're better off than the dudes who had the fun? No, I went to the hood. That's not how I lived in the hood and went to the public schools. That's not how that works. The guys who had the fun and the guys who didn't have the fun, they came from the same neighborhood, the same upbringing. They're not better off. So now they got skipped over for the fun. Now they're also going to get skipped over for the resources. You're going to completely fuck the system up even more with this idea. All because you're just going by the who gets most. It's basically who got vagina. Okay, now you get a job. I don't think you can't have a freelance civilization up front when it comes to fucking around and socialize, doing all that, and then try to decide and come in and add some structure on the back end of that requires even people who didn't get all of that up front. Now they have to also pay into getting these people, these men, these women, even more shit. You're not going to last that long. Because people are already saying, why the fuck should I do this? Why the fuck should I get a job? Why should I? Why? Well, now you're going to double down on that? Quadruple down on that? This shit is going to fall on its face. You already have men and women being not empathetic towards each other. This only increases that. And to the structure thing of him not even thinking about, maybe he said in something else, because this is like a 3-clip video, but I'm not going to listen to all of that. I've only heard that part. And Media Man also did this thing where he said we should come together on top of the taxes we already pay and put money and resources into single moms. It's like, I asked him, like, so is marriage going to be a thing that must be done in this? He said, no, I'm not talking about that. We're just talking about helping the women with the children. And it's like, dude, if you're not going to put any structure in place, you're only going to waste money. Because what's going to happen if let's say you say he'll go to jail if he don't finish the school. Okay, he finishes, now what? Now he gets to make another baby mama? What's the penalty if he makes another baby mama? You can't give him a penalty on that if you're not giving the penalty on the other side, if she has another baby daddy, which we know we don't want to do because we don't want to come off as people who, quote unquote, hate women because we will give them a punishment, which is, by the way, not hating you. So you can't give punishments if they don't even go through with this, because now what? You're going to put him in jail just like if he was on child support? What good is that going to do? I hate the fact that we keep coming to this because we keep trying our damnness to get people. We're trying to fix problems while not considering all solutions. So now we keep handcuffing ourselves behind our back and going, okay, so we can't punish people. We can't tell people they're on their own. Okay, so all we can do to solve problems is give to people and hope for the best. You know, you could also turn your back on people and hope for the best. Like, you could, if you're going to hope for the best, you can do it on both sides. Do understand, I'm not saying that, oh my God, I hope everybody fails, please. No. It's just frustrating seeing that we keep doing this over and 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 over again. They have, what is it called? I think they have tech school. At least they did when I was in school. Which you could learn, you could be an electrician, at least start. This is starting right out the gate, right? You could be entry level. You could be an electrician, a mason, what is that? What is the shit with the wood? You could be a carpenter. And I think some places had welding. We didn't, but I think some places did. There are different things that you can go into. Business. There were things that you could go into to get you a head start right out of high school without going to college for free. How many people you think took advantage of that? Most of us showed up, fucked around like we did at the regular school, and didn't do shit. You think just because they have a baby now is going to change that? No. You're going to have essentially the same success rate. Not very high, if at all. But you are going to do the typical, which is pour resources into this while not having any real outcome. Because you don't want an outcome. Tell me what his outcome is for this. You know what? I'll go to the second side and fuck it. Let's hear what he says.
They had a good life. Their kids went to school right the same schools we went to. I think that the incentive to solving the child support problem and a part of solving our infrastructure problem is to incentivize young boys who have gotten a girl pregnant. You must now go through 2 years of trade school.
Oh, wait a minute. So, okay, I like what you're saying.
Let me give you the rest of the answer first.
Okay, go ahead.
After that boy graduates, you get a further incentive if you and the girl marry. If you and the...
Oh, fuck. Okay, so here's on top of that. He said you get a further incentive. Why don't you just make it a mandatory thing? You know, this goes, so I actually halfway take that back. I halfway take it back. So here's a part of what really still bothers me with this. He said, let's go a further incentive. No, just say you don't. Let's scrap the whole thing. Family court and all. Say, listen, if you want anything from us, if you got a kid, you gotta have the marriage too. No way around it. You want the defense control the housing percentage and all that shit, APR. Okay, right now it's 6.5. If you're married, it's 3. How about that? Now this goes against everything I personally would like, by the way, because I'm one of the people that let's limit the government all the way around. But if we're going to play this game, okay, fine. But we need to start making it to a marriage mandatory type of ordeal if you're going to benefit from the shit. You can't, again, you're still hoping that they see that incentive is good enough. Stop begging people. Stop it. Stop guaranteeing shit and begging them. You do realize that that's what this kind of is. You're begging them you're begging them to take the resources in the first place, and then hoping that they see it as good enough to continue. Look at like I pointed out to people over the last couple of weeks about Korea, because I seen this post about they're still below like 1 full person per, reproduction, something like that. And people just keep mentioning money. And it's like, but they're giving you $38,000 if you just get married. Fuck even having a kid. If you just get married, they're giving you $38,000. People don't believe me when I say it's not about the money at all. Look at Dinks. And this is gonna be I'm gonna say this again sometime in the near future, because I'm gonna make another short video on that part. Like, look at Dinks. They brag about, oh, we buy extra cupcakes to eat them because we have 2 incomes and no children. Ha ha ha. Oh, we take extra vacations and we stay even longer because we don't have any kids. Ha ha ha. Money ain't the problem. And in this case, again, being incentivized isn't the problem. When you have people who are so comfortable and whatever it is, whatever that now is, that's what they're going to continue to do. Do you know how much you got to overcome? And once you give people welfare, and then now the dudes can also enjoy that welfare as long as the name isn't on something, and that even if they don't go to your trade school, matter of fact, we'll say instead of going to your trade school, they can continue to fuck these chicks and still get to live up on that welfare like I've seen them do it as I grew up. You want them to trade that in to go to class so they can get a job, so you can extract money from them, so that they can take care of the same kids and live in the same house that you already gifted them through the baby mama? Shit. Why the fuck would they do that? Get married for what? This is the problem when you're trying to give out resources based on who's getting the coochie. That doesn't make sense. If they're already getting it and you already take care of their fucking kid, why would they change? Explain that to me. I'm going to list for the rest of it. He's proved me halfway wrong. Fine. I'll take that half a L. But I really need to hear more of this idea because I think it's just full of shit.
Funnels down from the feds through the states to they had a good life. Their kids went to school, right? The same schools we went. Help mothers. Then it can be attached. Well, we're not only helping mothers, we're helping fathers too. If a boy gets a woman pregnant, not only does she receive TANF, I see your face, right? Good idea. If a woman receives TANF, she receives goods, the boy now has a must. You're federally required now to go to trade school. And in those 2 years, what you put out on the other side is a person who's trained, a person who has an incentive to marry, and a person who becomes a taxpayer and not just a taker of tax. Help mothers. Then it can be attached. Well, we're not only helping mothers, we're helping. They had a good life. Their kids went to school, right? The same schools we went to. I think that the incentive to solving the child support problem and a part of solving our infrastructure problem is to incentivize young boys who have gotten a girl pregnant. You must now go through 2 years of trade school.
Oh, wait a minute. So, okay, I like what
Let me give you the rest of the answer.
Okay, go ahead.
After that boy graduates, you get a further incentive if you and the girl marry. If you and the girl marry, we'll give you these incentives: zero finance home loans, something out of HUD besides an apartment with a leaky faucet and rats and roaches in it, but incentivize marriage, which then strengthens our community, the black community, and strengthens the greater community, because now you have more American marriages. You have people.
Okay, so he said about exactly what one of the examples I gave, which is the percentages on the home loans and so on and so forth. I'm not sure about zero. I understand why you gave that to like the veterans, because the Fed, like you said, set the rates, and then the banks still make their money off everybody else but the veterans. But if you start giving that to married people, well, you do understand that we live in a country where they're not going to, for one, they're not going to exclude immigrants, illegal or not, and they're going to start to eat off that shit before we do, in a much larger rate, because they have that need for each other that we don't have anymore, which is why we're like this. And again, you're incentivizing as opposed to making it mandatory. People is, again, the fact on one end we mandate that people pay taxes. We make it mandatory. We don't give them a choice, do we? We don't say give them incentive to pay taxes. We don't do any of that shit, do we? How does that work? Well, it works pretty well. If you don't pay taxes, we track your ass down. We knock you over the head and lock your ass up and say, ha ha, don't drop the soap. Don't drop the soap. Don't get raped in there. Ha ha. How about you make it mandatory that if people are going to get any of the resources, they go to trade school? Mandatory. Mandatory. I just said it wrong. Mandatory that they get married if they're going to use the shit for the government or family court and all that stuff. And also make it mandatory that you go to an actual trade school. Stop this this current education structure we have is garbage. Make trade school an actual mandatory thing. For real. Like it's K through whatever, like K through 8, and then right after that, trade school. If you're opting for college instead, fine, go ahead. But trade school, mandatory. Like that should be how that works. If you want to have them go through so many years of military so we can have that down pat, fine. But you can't keep doing, oh, it's mandatory that you pay child support. It's mandatory that you pay taxes. Oh, and then you can voluntarily do all the structural shit that would make all of that organized and healthy. What? No. Stop doing that. Again, and he's doing that out of fear, or out of trying his damnness not to mandate that women go through some shit. Dude, stop it. Stop it. Either people, the mother and the father, are going to get married, or fuck them. Why would you keep dancing around the forcing to do it? No. Make them do it. If this is important as we keep making it out to be, make them do it. Damn. Now we're in the comment section. I'm going to go over a few of these, and then after that I'll be pretty done. If you may want to reduce child support, simply stop creating broken homes. And again, you expect somebody like this to this is going to be one of the adult women around that young girl who got pregnant. You expect her to have women like this around her and not be that shit talk or whatever the fuck it is that makes that dude who, again, is only incentivized to go to trade school instead of him saying, fuck it. I'll go get a new baby mama. Fuck you. You expect this to survive hoping that they go through it? So you're going to have to mandate it. You're going to absolutely have to mandate it. Oh, you're going to get married just so you can get 0%? Or guess how expensive that's going to be when this and that and blah, blah, blah. When he cheat on you, then you got to do that. The divorce is way more expensive than that 0%. You're going to expect this person not to influence the lady that got pregnant. Either you mandate it, or you're not going to get around this. All right. You can't talk to someone about the black family that doesn't give a damn. Okay, you know what? He's talking to the person who is connected to the president. Like, I don't know, like y'all gotta stop doing this shit. Y'all can't keep going with but they don't care about us, so I talk to them. Okay, so isolate yourself and then what? Isolate yourself and then what? Give everybody who does hate you the incentive, even if they don't hate you. You're now giving them an incentive to say, fuck black people. They just keep playing victim, so why? They keep saying we don't like them and we're not going to do shit for them. So for what? Help them for what? Hear them for what? Stop doing that. Good plan. But the state is making a profit off the child support. That's around the same ball, up the same park, dude. Up the same alley. Do you want to try to solve the problem or not? If not, I understand, but at some point, you gotta try to make some move. This sounds basically like going to the military, pretty much. But obviously you're not going into battle, right? And also, if you do make, I just realized if you do make make military a mandatory thing, you have to scrap this plan until their duty is served, because otherwise, now you're gonna have dudes, in order for them to get out of the military service that's mandated, just get a chick pregnant, and then now they'll just send you to school instead. And now the dudes who I know this, it's not necessarily black and white, but just for the sake of explaining this part of it, now the dudes who couldn't get any coochie in high school, now they're sent to go probably die while this guy gets a certificate. That's how they're going to start seeing that. And you're going to start having dudes who show up and go, so I'm over here, about to go to war, and those fuckers over there using up all the resources. Okay. And now people are going to start killing themselves and go, AWOL. You really got to be really careful how you implement that. What are the ideas for investment in young people who didn't decide it was great to become a parent as a teenager? Thank you. Thank you, Vereba, whatever your name is. They're not here fucking up the community, so won't be, well, okay. Wow. Alrighty. Okay. The point is to be solution-oriented. Don't just complain. Okay, thank you. Why is Mike talking about the black community to a white man who will set up the same plan only for the white community? If he does that, then that's when you call him out on it. Because you have the proof, lady. Like, this is what I'll be talking about. You can't just complain. You can't just make this complaint and then that's that. No. You have this plan that I don't like in place, on record, and if he does go and gives it to white people or illegal immigrants or immigrants at all and not black people, well, now you get to call him out on it and say, oh, fuck this, no. And then take actions accordingly, right? Then you have your Jasmine Crockett's cause a fucking fuss with her potty ass mouth in the office. That's when you do shit like that. All right? This only works if the male complies. Oh, God. This only works if the male complies and goes to trade school and actually graduates. They have to want to actually be better and do better. So how do we project the consciousness of what the boy to want to do the right thing for himself and his child? That's actually, as annoyed as I was, actually a very good point. Because again, if he understands, because he probably already has seeded and or lived it himself, which is, he kind of just went on her to get the welfare anyway. Because they're not going to kick her off. They got to wait on her to commit fraud or some shit to kick her off. They're not going to kick her off and say, oh, your baby that didn't go to school, so you're not getting anything either. No, they're going to give it to her. And then all he has to do is not put his name on anything. Which, by the way, for all you fucking people who keep going, black men leave their children. They never leave. 2/3 of them have children and then don't come. They're taking that study based on your name and your child having the same address. There's plenty of dudes who literally live with their kid but don't have the same address. All right? But again, what is the incentive for them to start working and going to school only to essentially live the same life that they are living? Because when you take into account the money you'll be spending on rent or mortgage and the taxes they taking out of his check, and the fact that he actually has to get his ass up every day to go to work, to fuck the same chick he already does, or maybe even less because he got to spend time at work now. Shit. That ain't no incentive. You know how many dudes are still living quite well because they got a few chicks pregnant and they look out for them? Do you understand the dynamic we're talking about here? Literally, the Black Manosphere has pointed this out at just insane amount of times. The amount of dudes who are able to have several different baby mamas, go from house to house, couch to couch, bedroom to bedroom, like, it's crazy. So you're not really giving a real incentive there, honestly. You have to mandate it. I see your idea, Killer Mike, and raise you. Taking pregnancy and child support out of the issue. Having kids stay in school extra 2 years to learn a trade. No. Not an extra 2 years. Because this 14 years are great. The schooling is extremely bloated. And it costs a shit ton of money. Okay? We need to restructure the entire fucking thing. Okay, this Head Start and kindergarten, I'm sorry. Fuck no. Can y'all start teaching your own kids colors and ABCs? Why the fuck is that spent in Head Start? Stop it. No. There is an onus on the parent to give their kids some type of knowledge. I'm sorry. Shit. You are responsible to a degree of your kids' education. We will not be teaching simple shit if I were in charge of the school system. Holy shit. If your household is so dysfunctional, they can't learn that. You need no child left behind. Fuck that. Your child needs to be, because y'all are ass. But it would be something like you teach, like, I don't know, the multiples and shit like that. It wouldn't be this many grades. It wouldn't be at 14 different grade levels of school. That's for damn sure. It would be like 6 to 8, and then boom, you either go to trade school, or your parents can decide that you're going to college, or actually no, it would be up to us. Let's structure it to where, like, at 16, I think is a good age where you are now, okay, you're going to military. Boom, when you get back, you have your voucher for either trade school or blah blah blah, whatever, college pre-start thing, something, and then there you go. Something along that lines. But this idea of like, we already have 14 years of schooling. We're going to make it 16 now? No. Scrap a lot of that bullshit in high school, because nobody uses. Tell me the last time you used the Pythagorean theorem. I want to know. I want to know who here has used the Pythagorean theorem in the last 10 years of their life. So stop it. We're getting rid of that. No more additional schooling. That shit is dumb. That's so dumb. Especially considering when the average high schooler graduates, they don't know shit. The fuck is the point of that? I'm gonna read this last one because it's about the same thing. Oh, damn, did I reset? I'm gonna scroll down and try to find a good long one. So not encouraging or normalizing appropriate and comprehensive sex ed in public schools, it's like his idea is just giving up on preventing, mitigating teen pregnancy through education and proper resources, and instead putting kids into tax incentive child support, avoidance job programs, and early marriage. You think the guy that doesn't believe in vaccines, who is responsible for the rise in measles and cuts cancer research, wants to uplift young black kids? Okay, again, this is not. God damn, y'all can keep making this about race when we're trying to get something done here. I'm not totally against this argument, but I'm always accepting to a degree of people who say preaching abstinence is not going to totally solve the problem. Now, here you didn't say abstinence, but you said more education in public schools. Okay, people, sex education should be at home. It should have never been in a school at all. Okay? I don't know why this person at the school, you are so comfortable. This is weird. Like, we hate when people teach the gay shit in school, but it's like, you do want sex education in school? Maybe you should leave that totally at home. I don't know why y'all want so much, and this is why people like me want to shrink the government by a fucking lot. Because so many people want so much shit on a government's hands, and it just doesn't make sense. Why do you want this person who's not known by anybody in your family to be teaching your kids about sex? and specifically as a subject too. Not you're taking, biology or some shit like that, and then like sex is taught, like reproduction is taught along the way. No. Just straight up a sex education class. At what age? At what age? 9th grade, freshman year? Because at that point, the fact that you're not teaching abstinence, by default, you're teaching, okay, so this is how you fuck her and not get her pregnant. That's what that turns into. Are you going to wait until 10th, 11th, senior year? Because it honestly sounds like the same thing. You're just saying, hey, here's how you fuck her and not get her pregnant. That's pretty much what sex education is, when it's specifically a sex class that's not teaching abstinence. So I'll stop there. But yeah, I'm about 10% okay with Killer Mike's idea. All right, but be right, not positive. I'm out.